G'day YouTube and welcome to Step by Step Back to Basics. Today on the channel we're going to be building this 18650 80 amp hour cell so we can put it into a 24 volt battery or a portable power supply. So let's get started. So we want to build a 2000 watt hour 24 volt power supply. And we're planned ahead. We've got 280 18650 batteries. The first thing we need to do is pack them evenly into 7 separate cells so we can make a 7S configuration 24 volt battery. So we need to go to Second Life storage website, and there is a link below. We need to click on battery tools and then pack builder. So what this tool is, it allows us to input all the capacities of all the individual batteries and then give it the specifications, 7S, 80 cells per battery, and it will divide all those capacities within just a few milliamps, so we have equal packs. So we're able to build 7 cells with 80 18650 batteries, which are all the same capacity. From the pack builder page, we want to go ahead and input the milliamp hours for each individual battery. So once we've inputted all of the milliamps of each individual battery, we'll hit the generate packs button, and it'll end up giving us a graph which looks like this. So at this point we have to take all our batteries and sort them one by one into the individual packs until we have 7 packs of 40 batteries. Now that we've gone ahead and repacked all the cells, we'll end up with 7 packs like this one here. And so I'm going to cue the montage right now. We'll have a look at that process, and then we'll move on to actually building the battery itself. So at this point we want to go ahead and charge all our cells to 4.2 volts and place them all back into our cell holders. Now that we've charged all our batteries back up to 4.2 volts, at this point I like to go ahead and resleeve all the batteries and add a permanent capacity rating on the outside using a label maker. And to do so, you will need all of these tools right here. It's a pretty simple project, but it's an extra step I like to do because I like to inspect the inside of the battery under the old sleeve just to make sure there's no damage that I may have missed previously. It's always important to print your label first, because I don't know how many times I've had to retest batteries because I forgot to print the label and then I forgot what the capacity was. Just want to keep a little ring, because this is actually the negative, this whole body all the way up to here, and your positive is just this. So if you actually arc this, you will short the battery. So this is what this ring stops us from doing. It puts a protection, insulates from the positive to the live. So let me go ahead and do that to the rest of these batteries. Okay, now that we've finished re-sleeving all of the 18650s, we're going to put them all in parallel to make one large cell. And to do that, we're going to use this nickel strip. It's fused nickel strip. I get this from batteryhookup.com. I will provide a link below. I'm not affiliated with Battery Hookup in any way. I find this is actually a lot better than the regular nickel strip. It's thicker than the stuff that you get on Amazon. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to be using my spot welder. This is a mid-range spot welder I got off Amazon. This is the third one I bought, and this one works really well with this particular nickel strip and their 18650 batteries. The other two, which are a lot cheaper than this one, don't provide good spot welds. The spot welds break away from the 18650 batteries. So okay then, so let's go ahead and start the process of spot welding the nickel strip to the batteries. So when spot welding, I like to put 4 spot welds on each battery. It makes a stronger connection. So let's go ahead and start. You know what, I do need to actually make sure that your probes are sharpened. Just realized these probes could be sharpened a little bit. It doesn't take a lot to sharpen these because they are just really soft brass, the ends of these. Just better for a nice point, you get a better contact and it makes a much better spot weld. And these come with, I think it's 2 extra sets of these spot welding probes, so makes it quite convenient. You need to apply some firm pressure when doing the spot welds. Okay, so let me go ahead and finish this side. Now that I've gone ahead and finished 4 spot welds per battery on this side, I'm going to go ahead and do the positive side. Just be careful when you turn it around because sometimes the batteries can spill out and ruin the work. You have to start again. Okay then, let me go ahead and finish. Okay, now that we've finished all our spot welds, I've also added a little bit of Kapton's tape for stability around the edges. So as we move forward to add our negative and positive terminals, so we were able to charge and discharge the battery. But for this, we will need a few tools. We're going to need some wire cutters, some wire strippers, a hydraulic crimper, some good quality copper lugs, some UL listed 10 gauge copper wire, some more Kapton's tape, and a soldering iron. So let's go ahead and start. Okay then, before we start with our terminals, I just want to quickly touch base on the wire. most of the wire on Amazon, AliExpress, eBay, wherever you buy it now, is actually not UL listed. And it's really important that you find UL listed wire. This isn't a fact if you buy cheap, you'll buy twice. This is if you buy cheap, your house or your car or your van or your cabin will burn down. So make sure you pay, you get what you pay for, and make sure I'll put a few links. I buy all my wire from a place called Windy Nation through Amazon, because it is all UL listed wire. They do certify that, so that's why I get it from them. It's not the cheapest place to get it from, but you do get what you pay for when it comes to wire. If it's the cheapest wire, you really don't want it. So just keep that in mind. So I went ahead and built the positive terminal off camera, just so you can understand what we're going to be building. And so where we're going to do this, we're going to hook this one up here at the top. So we actually have a positive terminal to hook up to. And then when we hook the negative wire up, we'll actually hook it on the other side at the bottom, but they'll both come up to the top. This way you can get a good flow of electrons, from my understanding, from what I've learned, through the battery. It's better to have them, one at the top and one at the bottom. So let's go ahead and make this other one. It's fairly simple. So the first thing you obviously want to do is you want to strip two ends of your wire, so we can put them together. The next thing, I always give these a twist. Some people say you don't need to twist them, but I always twist them. And then I use these are two 10-gauge wires, and I put them in an 8-gauge lug. And just as I put it in, I twist the same way as I originally twisted them, just so you can get a clean fit into the actual lug itself without actually having any stray wires hanging around. And then we'll go ahead and use your hydraulic crimpers. This is almost a must buy if you're going to be doing this, because the better the connection you have, the better the actual flow of electrons through the actual wire will be. So you always want to make sure you get a good flow of electrons, and so you want a really good crimp. And the only way to get that is to actually get a hydraulic crimper. So I'll usually crimp it at once, and then I'll actually change the size down one size, because once you crimp it, it actually will crimp a fair way. So I usually go in and change it out and put the size down smaller than it, and give it a second crimp. And once you give it this second crimp, this is absolutely going nowhere. Just let it off a little bit there. Kind of twisted it just a second. All right, so once we crimp this time, this thing is going nowhere. As you can see with the crimp, that's stuck in there for the rest of the life. So just go ahead and put a little bit of this heat shrink on it, just to protect the actual lug itself in the connection. I just like to heat this up until I see the glue coming out of the bottom, because these have the adhesive on the inside. give you a better adhesion to the wires and to the lug so they don't come off. So I usually give it just give it a little bit extra minute to actually attach. Alright. And we're done with that. And at this point I want to go ahead and measure this. I try and put it around here. When I actually connect this to the other batteries inside to the other cells, which is a battery at the moment since it's one, but once we have 7 of these and we connect them together, then they're a cell inside a battery. I just like to spread this out so it's in the middle, comes to about the same point on all of them, and then I wanted it to go right here at the bottom at the 2 outer points. So I'll kind of, you know, about so, and then I'll trim the wire off here. Just double check it again, which is just about perfect. And then we'll go ahead and pull up our wire once again. All right, so now we have one for the positive and one for the negative side. So let's go ahead and get our soldering iron out and attach those to our battery. Okay then, let's go ahead and attach our terminals to the nickel strip so we can make ourselves a battery. So let's turn our soldering iron. Have it set to 480 degrees. I like to use non-resin core and then resin core. This is good quality electrical solder. It's most probably one of the more expensive solders, but it is the one you want to go with. So once our soldering iron heats up, for some reason the resin core, and I use this finer wire, the resin core doesn't like to stick to the nickel strip right at the beginning when you heat it up, but this non-resin core really will stick fairly easily to this. So we'll just go ahead and start heating up our nickel strip here, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. We'll put down a good amount of this here, right here. Not too much, but enough. All right, and also over on this side here. And once I get a good base down, I'll go ahead and do the resin core, because the wire itself likes to stick to the resin core better. So just give it a nice spread out, not too thick there, and also over this side here. We just spread out a nice amount just so we can get our wires attached. Then I want to go ahead and just put a little bit of solder on the end of the wires here. I like to just spread them out just a little bit. You'll see what I mean. So if we want this to actually come outwards, because when we join these two batteries together, we're going to put them face to face, and so these will actually touch. So if we just spread this out just a tad, like so, fan it out just a little bit, kind of get it in the right position here, and we'll start to heat this up again. Once we heat this up, we'll just drop this down into the solder, like so. And that'll stick there for just a second for us, and we'll add some more solder in just a second, okay? Spread this out just a little bit. I'm gonna heat this up once again. Just drop it down into the solder. So this way we get a good fan out of the wires at the end of this, and we get a connection. I like to just make sure I've got this in the right position. So let's just do it just for a second here. Just so that's right where I want it to be, in the middle. Right. And now I'll come back and add additional solder. to the top of the wire until it's all the way through. So you just go ahead and heat up your wire. Let's go ahead and get a good amount here soaked through the wire, okay? Because you want it to penetrate all the way down through the wire, down onto the nickel strip, make a nice clean solder all the way connecting onto your nickel strip here. And this one here is pretty good. And we'll come across to the other one here. Just like to make sure we're off here a little bit. Just want to make sure this is positioned in the middle, because once you solder this down, this is a little annoying for it to not to be in the middle when you're trying to hook them all up. So we'll go ahead and heat up our tin copper wire here. Once again, make sure it soaks all the way through the wire, down onto the nickel strip. As you can see, I've got a really good solder there as well. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and attach the other one, and then we'll go from there. But you know what? Let's go ahead and always clean the end of your soldering iron before you finish. Put it away. So let's go ahead and put on some Kapton's tape to hold everything in place real quick at the top here, and then we'll come back and we'll do the other side. And then when I finish, I wrap the whole thing in Kapton's tape. Sometimes people say that, isn't your battery going to overheat by doing that? And I say, not at all, because once this is in a 7S configuration, and because I have two 10-gauge wires, this actually rates this to be able to pull 40 amps. The most we're ever going to pull out of this battery is 5 amps, because that's what the actual inverter that we're using is going to pull at its maximum. So this battery will never ever get hot. So let's just go ahead and just put a little Kapton's tape here to hold everything in place for a second. And let's flip it over and we'll move on to the other side. Okay then, so I finished putting 2 layers of Kapton tape over the negative side of the battery to well insulate it. So we're going to go ahead and do the positive side now. And as I was stating before, I want to put the positive terminal at the top. That way we can get a good flow of electrons when you're drawing current from the battery all the way through the battery. So this is going to go here. So let's go ahead and get our soldering iron on, and let's get this soldered to the battery. Waiting for it to warm up here. Let's give it a try here. There we go. Once it hits that 480, it does really well. Get a little bit of this solder down, non-resin core, and also over here on the other side. I don't know if anyone knows, you may want to comment, but if you know why the non-resin core sticks to the battery and the resin core one doesn't, I would really love to know, because I ran out of the resin core and I was using the non-resin core, and I found exactly that it sticks so much better. So I now actually go ahead and I mix it I don't know if I should be doing that, but they're both over over 400 degrees of melting point, so the battery will never ever get that hot. So this one here. All right. Just like to try and make the solder, when I'm soldering it, as clean as possible. Just looks better. I don't know if it makes a difference. It looks pretty, but I always like to, because I'm using that Kapton Tap, you can see it through. Let's go around and do the other one. You know, I forgot to add a little bit more of this solder to it. All right. So we go again. I have completed my 2 solders to the nickel strip. I'm going to go ahead and cover this with Kapton Tap, so I'll be back in just a minute. Okay then, so we have finished our cell build, and yes, this is a cell because we are going to put 7 of these in series to get a 24-volt battery for a power supply that we're going to be building in an upcoming video. I will be putting links for all the different parts we used for this build, as well as links for all the tools which are needed to do this build. In an upcoming video, we're going to be using this EBC A20 battery tester, which shows our graphs of our charge and discharge cycles. So we'll be able to see if we actually did build a great battery. So once again, YouTube, thanks for watching. And if you have liked this video and liked my series so far, please remember to subscribe, hit the thumbs up and hit that bell notification. And I'd love to hear what you think about what I've gone over. If you think I could have done anything better, I would love to hear, and I'll actually give that a try. Thanks again and have a great day. And always remember, if you buy cheap, you will buy twice, and keep it simple whenever possible.